If you've been told you have a weak core and you're not sure what to do about it, this video is for you. We're going to break down the role of the stabilizer muscles and the 3 key principles to training them. The core. It's sort of a term that gets thrown around a lot in the fitness industry, and I'm not entirely sure most people understand its role, where they are, and what they do. So I like to call them stabilizer muscles because their primary role are to stabilize your spine and hold you in an upright position. Okay, they transmit force from your lower body to your upper body, and their role isn't to create movement. Rather, their role is to withhold a position with the potential risk of external force. For example, if I was to flex my core, these muscles in the middle of my being, and I was supposed to have someone punch me, well, that's the core's job, is how well they can absorb and withstand while maintaining that position of my body being upright with that risk of potential force. Okay, so rather than a joint that moves and creates force like a shoulder or a hip, the stabilizer muscles, their role is to withhold a position and withstand a position with the potential of falling or, someone throwing something at you and you catching it and having to absorb it. Anatomically, if we look at where our core muscles are, they're deep in the center of our being. There are a series of muscles, the Quadrus Lumborum, the diaphragm, the transverse abdominis, the multifidus, the psoas, the erector spinae. There's a few more, I'm sure, but these are a large number of muscles that have a significant role in stabilizing our body and holding ourselves up. So this is an important observation for us to understand why we need to train them, how to train them, and I'm going to show you how to do both of those here. First off, diaphragmatic breathing. Breath work is so important for reducing tension, relieving stress, and promoting oxygen and blood flow to the muscles and tissues in the area that you're experiencing pain. For instance, if you're experiencing lower back pain, the chances are you're quite inflamed there. Breath work helps promote oxygen, and oxygen, the presence of oxygen, is the absence of disease. The more blood flow, the more oxygen you have going throughout your body, the healthier you're going to be. So a big diaphragmatic breath, and a 3D breath is what I call them, where we're inhaling and expanding our rib cage, expanding our stomach, and then on our exhale, we're releasing everything and contracting the diaphragm. You'll notice that your spine does move during a 3D breath, which is good. There is a slight anterior and posterior pelvic tilt during the inhale and exhale portion of 3D breaths. Stabilization exercises. This is where we put more of a stimulus on those deep inner core muscles. Now, when it comes to back pain, one of the doctors that is well renowned in treatment exercises for lower back pain is Dr. Stu McGill. And he coined a term called the Big Three. Now, they're not the big 3 that you may be thinking of: the squat, the deadlift, and the bench press. Stu McGill's big 3 are the bird dog, the curl up, and the side plank, which helped me so much when I was experiencing back pain. We're going to be using 2 of these exercises in spinal freedom, and one of the main ones that we start with is the bird dog. The bird dog is a wonderful exercise for segmentation, elongation, coordination, and connection from the upper body to the lower body, all going through the spine. We start in a quadruped position, a transitional pose which we should be familiar with if we've watched any of my previous videos or if you've taken part in spinal freedom. And we extend one arm and opposite leg forward and back, holding for 5 seconds in our end position, and then returning at the same time. While performing the bird dog or any body weight exercise, it's great practice to incorporate diaphragmatic breathing in end ranges of these exercises. It's going to allow you to get blood flow and oxygen to different muscular lengths and contractions while owning and dominating positions, which will allow you to adapt and give you access to these positions. The dead bug, one of my favorite, if not more challenging and humbling stabilization exercises. Lying supine on the floor in a transitional position, I'm going to be using the stability ball because I love this version for a little bit more aggression and getting some compression force on the stability ball. We're going to be hugging the stability ball in between our thighs and our arms using the balls of our palm, not actually gripping the ball, and our thighs. Using that compression force to squeeze the ball, we're going to extend opposite arm and opposite knee down towards the floor without touching the floor, hovering about 1 inch above the floor, holding for 5 seconds, and then returning back to the starting position, and then repeating on the other side. You don't have to use a stability ball, especially if you're just getting started with this exercise, but I'm confident in you acquiring more repetition, requiring a little bit more tension in the exercise, and that's where you can incorporate something like stability ball, something like some bands. Another version would help you as well. And last, but definitely not least, the Quadrus Lumborum, or the QL, which is a muscle that attaches on both sides of the lumbar spine. And its role is to stabilize the lumbar spine. However, it also does laterally flex the lumbar spine. And there was a study that showed if the QL is more lengthened on one side, then it could contribute to a lateral pelvic tilt or a hip shift, which is awfully uncomfortable and could cause pain in your back. So we're going to take a two-pronged approach to first lengthening the QL on each side and then stabilizing it with a side plank. So first is a QL stretch. We're going to be in a transitional position again, our half kneeling position, with our knee closest to a wall or a base of support that we could basically hold on to, which is important. That knee is going to be in the air. Our outside knee from the wall is going to be on the ground. And we're going to reach that side's hand overhead and the bottom hand onto something where you can grip on, and I'm just going to be adding tension at the hip, just above the hip, and driving it out away from the wall. This is a great time to incorporate some of those 3 deep breaths. Getting long throughout our lateral side, our lat, our tricep, our rib cage, expanding and holding. Now, a progression to this would be standing. Okay, so we start in a transitional position, and then we move up to standing, where we do the same grip, the same side, except now we bend a knee back, and I'm getting long throughout that QL. The side plank is what we're going to use to strengthen the lateral portion of our core, the oblique, and our QL. Side lying on the floor with our feet stacked or one in front of the other, we're going to have our hand and our elbow underneath our shoulder. And we're going to elevate our hip into the air, pushing off with our hand, elbow, and feet, and holding that position for 30 seconds to 1 minute. Now, if the side plank is too difficult, there are a few regressions we could use. We could bend our knees so that our hips and knees make a 90-degree angle, which decreases the lever and requires less body weight that you're lifting up. So, to recap, the combination of diaphragmatic breathing, stabilization exercises, and the Quadrus Lumborum are 3 key principles to understand when considering core training. Remember, our stabilizer muscles are designed to maintain an upright position and protect you from the potential risk of external forces. I hope that makes sense, and if you have any questions or want to see more about back pain content or how to solve back pain, please check out my video course, 28 Days Spinal Freedom. And if you know anyone experiencing back pain, check out the link below in the comments, and feel free to like, share this video, subscribe so that the algorithm has friendly content about movement so we can help see the world live healthier and pain-free lives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.